Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, I am going to say this: the things Black people have been screaming for decades. I love the fact that very soon Black people or African Americans will not have to scream much or will not have to talk much about racism. People out there will be the one doing the talking for you, because some people actually do not understand it. But now they are beginning to understand, and they are also experiencing that thing you've been screaming and telling them that it is happening, that some people knowingly or unknowingly feel like it is not happening, right? Now, this woman boarded American Airline, and the stroller she was supposed to have, when you have a child, once you are coming out from the plane, you have your stroller so you can use it to, carry your. They refused to put the stroller for her in the where she can easily access it. To her greatest surprise, other white people had their own stroller. So I think that broke her, because you can see the bruises on her hand from carrying the child and all that. It made her life really very difficult. And she is calling them out. Is it because of the her skin color, and how they've been treating Black people and people of color for so long and all that? And it boils down to that all these things you've been screaming for decades, right? One thing I love Black people for, number one, is the fact that they will never keep quiet, especially when something is pressing them. I love you for that. Let's get into.
So this morning at 5 a.m., two exhausted parents traveling with two sleeping babies. We've flown countless times. We were told by American Airlines staff that our stroller, the same stroller we've gate checked without issue on Southwest and United, had to be dropped off at baggage. No empathy, no compromise, just refusal. But what broke us wasn't just the grueling walk through TSA with heavy children in our arms. It was watching as white families in the same line were allowed to keep their strollers. Same setup, same flight process, different treatment. We were told our stroller was different. The only difference is the color of our skin. We pleaded, we explained, we even showed prior gate check tags. But these three white women at the counter didn't flinch. They looked us in the eye as our babies slept soundly, and still they said no. To every parent of color, to every mother, to every father, this is a warning. American Airlines didn't just inconvenience us, they humiliated us. They reminded us that in their eyes, our struggle, our fatigue, our humanity didn't matter. We will not be silent. We will not let this slide. Discrimination, especially one that makes babies suffer, should never be a part of flying. And as long as American Airlines chooses to turn compassion into cruelty, families like mine will take our love, our money, and our dignity elsewhere. Please share this, tag them, let them know we are done.
Europeans ruined humanity when they invented race. Let's get one thing straight. Race, it's not real. It's not natural. It's not biological. It's not historic. Let me explain. Before Europeans colonized the globe, identity was based on culture, language, region, spiritual lineage, and kinship. In ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, for example, identity was based on gnomes and social roles, not how light or dark you were. In Yoruba, you were known by your oriki, your ancestral stamp, if you will, spiritual, familial fingerprint. In dynastic China, it was based on bloodlines, dynasties, philosophy, but not race. In pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, the Mayan and the Aztec, they valued calendar knowledge, astrology, cosmology, not skin color. None of these societies had a black or white or red, or that was imported later with violence in Bibles. The concept alone of race, as in you are this because of your skin tone. Race was invented in the 1600s to justify land theft, genocide, cultural erasure, violence, enslavement, pretending it was civilization. There is no record of any black person anywhere in recorded history ever referring to themselves as black until we had to. There is no record of any indigenous person ever calling themselves red until their G-side ensued. No, this wasn't self-expression. This was a branding. Today, we're still bleeding because of the category that they carved our skin into. From police brutality, medical apartheid, economical apartheid, cultural erasure, flat out G-side. They took skin color and made it a caste system. They literally weaponized melanin. This all traces back to when the European woke up and decided to start playing God by inventing race. I mean, you don't even have to just take my word for it. Look up Carl Linnaeus. In 1735, he invented what's called taxonomy of humans, where he categorized humans based on skin color, called those racial categories. Those categories were Homo eurapeus, Homo asiaticus, and Homo affratus. Assigning traits like laziness based on color. Europeans scientifically coded white supremacy to the world. They made skin color a caste system, essentially making it a weapon. Race is not about identity. It's about control. A divine excuse for things like enslavement, G-side, mass cultural erasure, land theft. Once again, all while pretending to be civilized. So race, it's not about identity. It's about fear. It's about control. And what it is not ancient. It is not natural. It is not real. It is not truth. It was designed, deployed, and it destroyed global humanity. So the question isn't, what race are you? The question is, who profits when you forget who you were before race was invented? And anyone with an inkling of scientific competency would know that the joke's on anybody who falls for it, because we're 99.9% the same. So yeah, I say it with my full chest, full-throated. Europeans destroyed humanity when they created/invented race.
Learn when to shut the fuck up sometimes. White people use the immigration system combined with voter suppression laws to artificially create and maintain a majority white population. My call to action is for you to read up on the 1965 Voting Rights Act and read what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and many other civil rights activists had to say about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Also read up on the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Kamala Harris was born the year it was passed, and her mother and father met each other, both actively working in the civil rights movement. Her mother was a dark-skinned, black-presenting Indian woman, not of African descent, who was in the racial caste system in India. She was not even the equivalent of white in India where she came from, which is why she was able to assimilate into the black civil rights movement very easily, because she presented as a black woman. South Asians and people that present as black, when they speak English and are in community with black people, people assume they are black. You need to read the history of civil rights in general. You need to read up on the 14th Amendment. You need to read the words of Frederick Douglass, an abolitionist against slavery. He also supported women's suffrage movement. Y'all need to really know the intersection and why these people were aligned. Y'all need to know why these laws end up protecting everybody and not just one group of people, because different groups of people came together in intersection at times when we were able to move the needle in terms of justice, equity, and progress for marginalized groups of people. Read about blanqueamiento, a racial whitening of Latin American countries under the Spanish and under the Portuguese. People who had more white in their family were moved up into a racial hierarchy, a higher race class. Blanqueamiento has relevance even in the United States. Confederate states were formerly Spanish and French territory. The Louisiana Territory, Florida was owned by the Spanish. The entire Southwest region, half of what we now call the United States, was owned by the Spanish and was part of the Spanish colony and had the same race laws and slavery laws as what you now consider Mexico and many other Latin American countries. They had like 16 different races. It's relevant now because it's still white supremacy by another name, just more detailed. And because everybody doesn't have the same colonial trauma under white supremacy, a lot of times we start to think that other groups of people have not been under white supremacy because they don't use the same words and have the exact same experiences that we remember going through. It's important to know this at this day and age when they're trying to put black people against Latinos, and a white Latino, an indigenous Latino, and a black Latino do not have the same experience even when they live in the same countries. Just like white Americans do not have the same experience as black Americans or indigenous people in the United States, or Asians, or any group of people that is not white. We don't have the same experiences even when we share the same nationality. In all of those Latin countries, they controlled immigration based on race to maintain whiteness. They encourage families to assimilate with, procreate with, and whiten their families. You could only own property and land, participate in politics if you had proximity to white people or if you were a white Spanish person. Proximity to whiteness and whiteness are continuous themes that go on throughout the entire Western world. American hegemony and white supremacy are one and the same. The United States evolved out of white supremacy, just like most Latin American countries. Countries that the United States opposes are countries that stood up black and brown people against white colonizers. That is the problem they have with Mexicans in Mexico because they abolished slavery in 1829. We got more to talk about. Y'all be blessed. Ashe, ashe.
This is all I got from this video, and no lies dictated. You and I know how race was created and how it affects people to this very moment and how dangerous it is. And you all know why it's because of control. Because if not for control, why would somebody choose to do that? Like create race, right? Now let me start with the woman that had problem with American Airlines. And let me tell you something. I love the fact that Africans, because she sounds African, right? I think she probably lives in the United States, but whichever way. I love the fact that people are screaming out. People are no longer keeping quiet over some certain things going on that they can see vividly that it is just not because that is a carriage, but it is because of who they are. Because tell me how you say that, a baby stroller is going into this when other white people are carrying their own up and down from the same flight. Sometimes I look at some certain things, I don't know how, but it's kind of crazy, that I am seeing you as a black man for just no reason and I do not like you. Like, you've not done anything to me, nothing. Maybe you are my customer and all I owe you is to serve you with everything that because they say customer is always the king or queen and all that. What I am supposed to do is to lessen your burden and make you enjoy whatever you are getting from us. Like that is the product that we are giving you. Because it is not making, sincerely speaking, each time I say the concept of racism and all that, it doesn't make any sense to me. To some people, it might, but it does not make any sense. That just because I am this and you are not giving me what I am supposed to gain or what I am supposed to have or what I merited, that is disgusting. It's a very stupid attitude. On a serious note. And then seeing how heavy those kids were. The kids are not, she has to carry her baby all through and all. Man, you all can do better. And I really do wish that she sued them And she is also creating awareness, because I saw this on, like, people are posting it every. I see. I have been telling you people this, and I am not going to stop repeating it. One thing I know for sure is that in few years to come, right? In few years to come, Black people will not have to scream so much about racism. Let's say African American will not have to scream so much about racism, right? Other people that look like people, myself and other people, Africans and all that, will be the one drumming it for you. Why? Because majority of them do not understand how racism works. They are experiencing it, but they thought it's maybe a minor thing or something to ignore, or let me just leave them, right? But now they are no longer ignoring, because if you were back then, they would be like, let me just leave it. There's no need making noise. Continue to make noise, continue to talk, continue to scream, because if you don't talk, it's not going to stop. It may not stop completely, but it is going to drastically reduce. Majority of the blogs that I am following are posting these videos saying this is what they keep doing. And this in the comment section, they were like, this is what African Americans have been screaming about for years. I love the fact that people are recognizing that and also being able to make input and talk about it. They know that you've been screaming about it, but they didn't understand it. Probably because, why I keep saying this is because racism is different from what we experience. Very different. I have said this several times. An Igbo man might tell a Yoruba man that, you eat so much pepper, and make joke of you at, like, be crazy about it. And then you turn around and tell him, okay, maybe like Igbo, to an Igbo person, you say, turn around and say, but you have R and L factor. They make mockery of each other with that. And after that, everybody is on his or her own. No bad blood or anything. But you see, this racism of a thing I am seeing, it is not it. You are denying me something because of who I am. And then, because of racism, you can see how their humanity is being, like, they do not show humanity because of what they created. Because if you see how they act, you definitely will see, like, you see that the humanity is gone. Because if it is not gone, why do you wake up every day to some certain stories? Like, you might enter a taxi and somebody will wake up and, like, be very mean in a disgusting way, probably using some kinds of words. Yesterday, I boarded a taxi. Sometimes you don't see good people often. One thing I've learned so far is to, no matter how, people are not that kind to me. And when I see those kind ones, I appreciate them. It's not like I owe them anything or they owe me something. But when you see people that are kind, you definitely will know. But when you see those ones what they want is just to make your life miserable, you can actually see them from far away. I hope they will do press charges, and I hope they get what they are entitled to. And I am going to say this to Black people. You guys have no idea how much your speaking up how much it has helped so many people, including me. How you do not shut up, where even when they keep saying that I love my people loud. I love you loud, like that. When I say I love you loud like that. Because if it were not your loudness, it were not because you were talking, we would not have known what has been going on or what it's going on. Right? It's just like the way They lie to both of us, and everybody's also trying to bridge the gap and all that. So continue to be that loud. That is my kind of loudness. I love it. You know? People are being woke because you spoke. And the ones that said they are not loud, they are dying. I would rather be loud. I choose to be loud all day, every day. You see this life, you live it once. I am going, okay, to all of them, yeah, I am sure the video, it's all connected. The other one is also talking about race, and the other one is talking about white supremacy, and it is still the same thing. Because if it is not her white supremacy and all that, she would not have seen somebody in that situation and not give them what they are entitled or what they are supposed to have to make their life easier. But their own people are out there using the same thing she denied the other person of using, just because of who she is, or because of her skin color, or because maybe she has an accent or something like that. Shame. All those things are not okay. You know, if you think they are okay, you are on your own. You shouldn't be on my platform. Bye for now.